All right, 10 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Nice looking Wednesday. Have you ever gone to the doctor and the doctor says, can you get your records from your previous doctor, right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that was in California, right?
Yes.
Doesn't matter anymore. We got electronic records that make everything different. Dr. John Kontor is on the phone. He's the Vice President of Optum Advisory Services. He's talking to us about the new electronic health records study and how to reduce unnecessary patient care. Let's find out about that. Good morning, Dr. Kontor. It's nice to have you on the show.
Great. Good morning, Larry. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Where are you?
I live in Annapolis, Maryland, based out of Washington, D.C.
All right. Well, thank you for being on the air. So what is the electronic health records? What is that? And what did the study in reveal? I guess, what did it reveal?
Sure thing. So, doctors have been adopting, especially over the past 10 years, the electronic health records. So these computerized record systems, as you said, that can help you share information better and have your record travel with you. But they're spending a lot of money on these systems, tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars for a big hospital system to do this. And what we've been trying to see is, can we use these systems to justify that investment and see better outcomes? So we did a study with Cedars-Sinai, which is a really prominent health system out in California, and got some really great results. What we found was that when doctors used an alerting system, a system that helped them make the right decisions at the point of care, that we can reduce the length of stay down by 6%, reduce the cost of care. So the average cost of an admission was reduced by almost $1,000, and probably more importantly, the clinical outcomes were better. The risk of readmission was down, and complication risk, for example, was reduced by almost 30%.
So does the patient have to opt in order for those records to be available?
So these systems are really built into the existing electronic record system of hospitals or doctors' offices. The patients usually have to opt in to having their records stored on those systems, but these kind of brains behind the scenes systems are just bolted onto that. And the way they work is they look at all of the clinical data that's stored in those record systems and help analyze all that data. And as at that most important moment in time, when the doctor has their pen, or in this case their keyboard, in hand, it can remind doctors, especially when they're about to order something that may not be of benefit or potentially could be of harm and be wasting money.
Give me an example of what it might warn the doctor about.
So a good example might be with sleeping pills, for example. So many patients, many of us have trouble sleeping, and many patients ask their doctors for sleeping pills. And in some cases, they can be appropriate, but many times we know, especially for the elderly, or if you're on other medications that can interact, not only can they be wasting money, but they can actually hurt you. They can we know from many published studies that they can increase your risk of falling and having complications, serious complications like a hip fracture, for example. So that's a really good example. Or another example might be a CAT scan. And if you need a CAT scan, great. But if you don't need a CAT scan, then we're exposing patients to unnecessary radiation and the long-term effects of that.
And sometimes people buy these medical alert necklaces or electronic bracelets. So if a fall or something occurs in the home, do the EMTs have access to these medical records as well?
That's a great question, Robin. So when you get out into an ambulance, it's definitely a little bit behind where hospitals are. There are some early systems that can help the EMTs make the right decision. An example might be electronic systems that can look at the EKG, the heart tracings, for a patient who's having chest pain and might be having a heart attack, and help the EMTs make the right decision about whether that patient's actually having a heart attack and should they start treatment for it.
So do the doctors all know about this already, and do the patients need to know about this? In other words, I'm trying to make a connection between the radio tour and our listeners so that they can use the information.
Yeah, so I think that's a really important question. Doctors know about alerts in electronic systems. They still don't use them enough. Our study found one of the disappointments was that doctors only listened to all of the alerts about 10%, less than 10% of the time. So there's definitely room for improvement there, but it's really important for patients to understand how these systems can help their doctors make the right decision. But it's equally important that we use these moments to take advantage of the opportunity to engage patients in the discussion with their providers. Any of these decisions around tests, procedures, medications with risks ought to be made in a joint decision between patients and providers.
Right.
So what kind of safety measures are in place so the patients don't have to worry about their information being hacked?
So hacking is a real concern, and healthcare has not been immune to some of the broader problems we've been hearing about around hacking. And there have been some high-profile medical record hackings over the years. The good news is, I think that all of the major electronic medical record vendors and most of the hospitals that use them have invested in pretty complex systems to help protect patient records. Still an area that we have to watch out for.
So I'm guessing that the more we know, the less reluctant we will be. As long as we know that it's safe and secure, the more we know, the more likely it is that we'll opt in as patients, right?
I think that's true, and it's going to become even more important as science continues to advance. And for instance, we start using genetic data and housing, personal genomic data in these systems. Incredibly powerful to not only help doctors make the right decision in the moment, but can even predict, here are the conditions that you're at risk for or are likely to happen.
Does it interface? I don't even know if that's the right word, but you'll probably know what I mean. Like when people have their home monitoring systems where the doctor can remotely keep track of somebody's heart rate and that kind of thing, does this interface with the system you're talking about?
Yeah, so more and more of these systems, and the system we used in this study, the electronic record system, does interface with patient home monitoring devices, things like blood pressure cuffs, blood sugar monitors, even now your Apple Watches or other smart devices.
And it's really great to know that you're part of our hometown and that you're a Gator.
Oh, really?
I am a Gator and a Gator fan.
All right, let's leave the listeners with the information that can help them learn more. Is it the website?
Yeah, so we'd recommend folks go to our website, optum.com, and they can find more information there.
Okay, optum.com. It's easy enough. Dr. John Kontor, thank you for doing what you're doing and for taking the time to explain this to us.
Thanks, Larry and Robin.
You're welcome. We'll be right back.
Sunshine mixing with clouds on this Wednesday. There can be a shower in spots along the coast this morning. Watch out for a thunderstorm in the afternoon across the interior. High 90 at the coast, 95 inland. Wednesday night, a shower or thunderstorm in the evening in the interior. Otherwise, fair skies overnight. It'll be overnight.